Thank you for joining me today, Zane. It's going to be an interesting time as we explore some of the things that Scope has been through in the last 75 years. And it's a landmark week this week, isn't it, as we are 75 years old.
It certainly is, Kate, and thank you for the opportunity to, I suppose, talk it over with you.
Yeah, it's a story that's 75 years in the making. And interesting when we look back at all that has happened and all that has changed for people with disabilities in the last 75 years, and the role that Scope has played in that as well.
The challenge for us is to not only respond to the challenge of doing things with people with disability and co-designing, but the challenge for us is to be the leader in that space. We have an opportunity to showcase that to the sector and to the community more broadly, so that it just becomes the fabric of society. And for me, that's where I want us to go.
And for that to happen, we have to increase the number of people with lived experience of disability who are in our management teams, who are on our boards. My hope is that in the future, the CEO will be a person with disability. The board chair will be a person with disability, and that's cascaded through the organisation, and that visible leadership is shown with people with disability in pivotal leadership roles like the one you're in now.
If that wasn't the case, we're not walking the walk.
And if we can't do it, who else can? And that's that leadership role within the sector, isn't it? If we as this very mature, large, sophisticated organisation can't get there, then there's a real question of why we're asking it of others.
Well, the great thing is, I think in our own minds, we know we can get there. And that's what excites me. Now, that's not to say we haven't got some major work to do not only in the way that we do things, but in the people we engage. You know, we've got to have the right people in the right rooms at the right time at the right cost.
Yeah, making the right decisions.
Making the right decisions.
Yeah.
But a lot of those people must be people with disability. And if that happens, then quite literally anything is possible.
So we're at a crossroads now because we've got NDIS maturing. We've got a Disability Royal Commission with their announcements this year. I think they're going to turn our world on its head. I think they're going to really challenge what has been acceptable within our society. So by the end of this year, I think we'll be looking at different parameters around how disability is perceived and how the disability sector can operate as well.
If we want to live the lives that we choose, then we must lead the way. And organisations like Scope are the key to supporting us to do that. And I'm really proud to now see more and more clients at Scope in meetings, you know, involved in conversations and having the bravery to actually ask for what they want. We really want to make sure that people with disability are part of our decision making moving forward. We've both spoken about the fact that, you know, that is an expectation at every level of Scope. What are the enablers and challenges around that for Scope?
With an organisation this large, I think the most important thing is we have the frameworks in place, that it's not person dependent, that if you and I move on to other roles, that the framework is there that holds this intent true and becomes the core of our decision making. So the frameworks that we have now that ensure that client voice is heard at board, is heard at board subcommittees, is heard at ELT, at our executive, that we have advisory voices coming through on any major project that we have. If we have a capital build project, we have to have people with disability on that advisory committee. As we look at our employment strategy, and we've just developed a future employment strategy, that it is people with disabilities that are driving that. It's not tokenistic. It has to be true. It has to be real. It has to be challenging, and it has to change the way that we think and have historically thought.
So are you suggesting that the old saying of nothing about us without us actually underpins everything we're about to do at Scope?
It has to, and I think that intent has always been there, but it's amplified now. Zane, we've been talking about our legacy of the 75 years behind us, what we've seen in our rear view mirror. If you look forward to the next 75 years, what do you think's ahead of us?
Well, I think one thing certainly won't change, and that is that 75 years ago, Scope was about people. I still believe that in another 75 years, Scope will be about people. What I think will change and what I think will evolve, because it has to, is that Scope will become led by people with disability. People with disability will be the decision makers, because if you're not a person with a disability, you can't possibly know the things that you need to know to make an informed decision. So again, as I said, my challenge to people with disability is to make sure that that happens and put yourself into the position where, if you want to be, you may well be the next Kate McRae. We've had a great 75 years at Scope. I'm quite proud of everything we've been able to do. But the next 75 years will be even better.